and he was sleeping 80% of his life away when he got to the point of dialysis. And I was just like, we've got to do something. And if I have a healthy kidney that he can have it. There was no questions asked. I loved him, and it wasn't just for him to get off of dialysis. It was to give him time to meet his grandchildren, and it was an answer to prayer. The Lord made it work out. We were put together for a purpose, and it definitely gave him the quality of life, gave our children time with their dad. It's given us our life back.
Welcome to Pulse Check, the official podcast of Carolina Pines Regional Medical Center. My name is Rachel Courtney, and I am the Director of Education here at Carolina Pines. Today we have a very special podcast for you. We are going to talk about living organ donation, and I am joined by someone who didn't just talk about making a difference, they actually took action. More importantly, she is actually an employee right here at Carolina Pines. Her name is Angela, and she is a living organ donor. Angela, thank you so much for being a part of our podcast and sharing your story today.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah. So let's just start. What do you do here at Carolina Pines?
I'm a respiratory therapist.
Okay.
So we help people breathe all day long.
Right. Awesome. How long have you been at Carolina Pines?
I've been at Carolina Pines about 4 years.
Okay.
But I've been in respiratory for 31.
Awesome. Great. So let's start. What made you consider becoming a living organ donor?
Well, on my license, I've always been,
Right.
if at the end of my life, if the last thing I could do is help someone else. But my husband had lived with chronic kidney disease for many years.
Okay.
So when it came to the point that he needed a kidney, it was presented to me that we could be tested and things like that, and no question asked.
Yeah.
I wanted to be tested to
Right.
see if I could help him.
Awesome. Yeah, because you only need one kidney a
Right.
person, right? So was he having to do dialysis and things like that?
He was.
Yep. So a
He
lot
did.
of his spare time was spent doing those away from you guys, right?
Yep.
So what specific things maybe in your life with your everyday life with your husband motivated you to give that gift of life to him? Are there certain things that stood out to you?
Well, it changed our lives.
Yeah.
It changed our ability to enjoy quality of life. I watched my husband lose his quality,
Yeah.
and we didn't want just quantity. We wanted quality of life,
Yeah.
and me being able to be a donor would be. I know I've took care of my body, but I also, with me being able to be a donor, it gave him that quality of life, but also gave our family more time because there were many times that we were doing family activities that he just didn't feel good.
Right.
And he was sleeping 80% of his life away when
Right.
he got to the point of dialysis. And I was just like, we've got to do something. This is, and if I have a healthy kidney that he can have it.
Right.
There was no questions asked. I loved him, and it wasn't just for him to get off of dialysis. It was to give him time to meet his grandchildren.
Right.
My daughter was pregnant at the time with our second grandson.
Yeah.
And, I watched them in pain, watching their
Right.
dad in pain,
Yeah.
and it was an answer to prayer.
Yeah.
The Lord made it work out. We were put together for
Yeah,
a purpose.
a reason.
And during my recovery time, I wrote a poem, and the poem was never meant for me. So
Wow.
I just feel like that it definitely gave him the quality of life,
Yes.
gave our children time with their dad,
Yep.
is giving us our life back.
Yep. I think it's important for our listeners to also understand, what kidneys do. So kidneys filter out all the toxins in your body,
Right.
right? And when they can't do that, then they build up and they cause you to be extremely fatigued. They cause you to feel sickly. And then when you reach that point of having to go on dialysis, you're requiring a machine to filter out all those toxins for you. And then not only is the kidney not working correctly cause that fatigue, but the actual dialysis itself does too.
Yes.
So he was experiencing that, not being able to be a part of all those family outings and things like that. So now he is able to do all of that with your family and your beautiful grandchildren and do that. So that's awesome. So that was a huge decision to make, but a very easy one, sounds like. What was going through your mind at that time when you made that decision?
The sacrifice that we would both have to have our own teams.
Yep.
So then you have to, it's not just my decision.
Right.
It would be the support of family, work family, what that was going to look like.
Making sure that you would even match, right?
Right.
That would probably be the scary,
Right.
Not only did you make that decision, but then you had to make sure that you would match with them,
Yeah.
which is awesome that you did. Yep. So many people don't realize how thorough that process is in becoming a living organ donor. What was that evaluation process like for you when you guys made that decision?
So once he had his appointment, of course I was with him, and then the paperwork for living donor application, I filled it out that day, then received some orders to go have a urine test, some blood test, and then they go from there. It's a process of about 8 months is about the process that I had, and I'm sure that that's sped up in some other situations. But for our situation, he was on dialysis, so his life was sustaining with that. So then it was just one process after another. Once we were the same blood type, I just had a RH factor different. That didn't really make a difference. And then they test your Hep B antigens, antibodies to make sure that you're not going to reject things like that. Then vascular studies, and so it's a couple of days
Of testing.
at the hospital for those deeper diagnostic tests. Making sure your cancer screenings are up to date.
Gotcha. So they really check you out, make sure everything's good.
I found out things about myself.
I bet so.
that
Yeah,
process.
for sure. 8 months is a long time. I would, you wouldn't think, oh, I've made the decision and then it's so quick, but that's a very long process. But important because you want to make sure that the organ that you're giving is right and perfect for that person. So awesome. So surgery day. Let's talk about that.
Surgery day was a little hectic.
Yes.
Because my adult children were our caregivers.
Okay.
So they're, anywhere from 19 to 22. And so we had two teams of caregivers. My nephew, adopted son, he was my husband's caregiver, so he had the biggest job of all, especially after surgery, because he was going to have to manage his medications, which is a plethora of medications after surgery. So it was just planning, making sure that everybody was in place, everybody was well, and have backup plans as well.
Right. How long did the surgery take for both of you?
My recovery time was a little longer, but surgery was several hours. Like his was a little long. Well, his gets started a little later than mine. Mine got started, I think, all in all, maybe 4 hours.
Yeah.
And then his was a little longer because of just the type,
The process of it,
receiving the kidney and connection and all that.
Yeah. So tell me, like, life after. So we were talking before we got started. So February 26th, you said, was the year anniversary?
February 26th was our year anniversary. Yep. So we, right after surgery, we're both recovering from surgery, and we tried to do that in the same hotel room for the first week. I would suggest any couple have your own separate space for recovery time.
Yes.
Just because men and women recover different. And as husband and wife, you're usually you're
Can
each
feel
other's
each other.
caregivers.
Right.
Yeah, and for the first time in my life,
Yeah.
I was not his caregiver. He
Right.
was not my caregiver. Our children were emergency contacts.
Yep.
Things like that. So more immediate to our recovery. It's just normal
Right.
surgery recovery time,
Right.
back and forth to the hospital, things like that. And then as the year went on, they do blood tests 2 months after, and then at 6 months I had some lab work, and then my year mark was the beginning of February,
Right.
and follow-up visits.
Yep.
I did not realize this until after surgery that my husband's bladder, the dialysis actually thins out the bladder.
Oh, wow.
So he had to keep his catheter in for more days
Right.
than normal because his bladder was so thin from dialysis. And
Yeah.
he was not one of those that was on dialysis for many years.
Right.
He was on dialysis for about a year.
Oh, wow.
So he was very fortunate that
Yeah.
he didn't have to go any longer than that. He really averaged about 2 days a week on dialysis because it caused him such major cramping. And then he would just feel so bad, like you said, on
Right.
dialysis days.
Yeah.
But so it was a process. They had to tweak medications, lab work
Yep.
on a daily. Sometimes, right at first, you have to stay close to the hospital, and then as that process goes, then you can kind of see where the kidney function goes up to. And our year mark was really kind of our results of what we would consider our new normal.
Gotcha. Yep. And so that was a big emotional time for you too, I'm sure. Do you think being in the medical field helped ease any of that anxiety with that process versus not being in the medical field?
Being in the medical field, you see it all.
Yep.
You see the minor surgeries sometimes, don't go quite well and
Yeah.
things like that. So it did give me a little insight of what to be nervous about.
Right.
But
Right.
the teams that you have, these
Yes.
teams are very educated. You have caregivers, you have physicians that you're now their patient as
Right.
well, and they took very good care of me.
Good.
There were people in place that mentally, physically, because it's not just a physical.
Right.
It is a very emotional
Sure.
process.
Yep.
That in that year time, it changed my life forever.
Right.
I am forever changed by being a living donor.
Yes.
Because it gave us life back.
Yeah,
And there's a part of me that is living inside of another human being.
Right.
And someone that I love dearly.
Yeah.
It's more than my mind can wrap around.
Yeah, for sure. It's wonderful to know that, even with the medical background, no matter if you are medical or not, that the team is going to give you all the education that you need,
Right.
go over all the risk and benefits and things like that. So everyone will be well informed in their decision when they make that decision for someone.
Yeah.
So life is definitely much different now than it was before.
Yes.
Because he's not in dialysis anymore. Your kidney is doing all the beautiful stuff for him. So what does life look like now? It's so much different?
So February, it was not just our kidniversary, but it was our anniversary, and we celebrated 30 years of marriage.
Wonderful.
So our trip to the mountains, had he not had the transplant, we probably would not have been able to go
Right.
on our anniversary trip, and he probably would not have felt good.
Yeah.
Had we and then when he was on dialysis, we always had to plan trips around where a dialysis center was, so that if we were there, he could have his dialysis
Gotcha.
wherever we were at.
Yeah. So this gave you the freedom to do whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted,
Yeah.
and he felt good.
Yes, and
Did
he's
not
starting to feel
sick.
better. Yes.
Good. So, what advice would you have for any listeners that might be considering living donation? What would you tell them?
I would say that follow your heart. Whatever is leading you to that decision, I would definitely. It doesn't hurt to be tested, and at any time during that process, say something changes your mind, you're never like solid that this you've got to do this until the day up that you're on an operating table.
Right.
You know, it can really change not just the recipient's life, but it changes everybody that's connected with that person, friends, family, social events that you're used to doing. Definitely just get the information. There's so many people out there that are support systems.
Right.
You're not in it alone. There's groups on Facebook that answer all the questions that you may have. There's other people who've gone through it, like myself. I'm more than willing to answer any questions, the good and the bad, because there's, you know, it's surgery.
Right.
But, you know, a year later, I'm still able to do what I have always done, and with no risk of not being able to live my life the way I've always lived it.
And your loved ones right there with you, being able to do all the things better than before.
Right.
So wonderful, wonderful. You know, what an awesome gift that you were able to give him. You know, looking back over it, through all that you guys went through with coming right after your year mark, would you do it again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I would do it with faith over fear.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the mom of the family. So, of course, I worried about everybody involved.
Yes.
I worried about the details that if I could go back, I wouldn't have worried about those smaller details and just
did the process.
Yeah, just go through the process knowing that we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And even if his kidney had failed, it gave him that time and possibly was the gap to the next step, whatever that looked like.
Right.
And then the cushion of knowing that by being a living donor, that if something happens in my life that I need a kidney, then it puts me in a bracket where I could receive the kidney, you know, sooner.
Right. Yeah. Because you've been through all the testing and things like that. That's awesome. So it not only gave you peace of mind, but you've got extra time.
Yep.
Good. So it is so important to educate yourself on the facts surrounding donation and register your decision as an organ donor. After you register, we recommend you share your decision with your loved ones. And for more information regarding organ donation, you can visit sharinghopesc.org or donatelifesc.org to register your yes. So it's important to not only do that, but let your loved ones know that you've made that decision. Your story is just so powerful, and I think it's great for our viewers to hear the impact that it has made in your life. And we're so thankful that you came on and are willing to share that journey with you, and the importance of what organ donation really means. So we're really, really thankful that you came on to do this with us. Is there anything else that you can think that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, I'd like to share with the fact that even if you get through all that testing and you end up not being able to match your recipient, that there is an exchange program.
Right.
That if you're healthy enough to be a donor, then there is an exchange program where there may be 4 people in surgery. You have a recipient that you match, and then the one you were trying to help gets the match that they would have. So it's not, it's a win-win.
Right. So even if you go into it for a specific person, unfortunately you don't match, there's that wonderful ability to give someone else that gift of life as well still, that you can make that decision for.
So then it extends it out, not just,
not just your close.
Yeah.
And make those impacts in someone else's life.
That's right.
So living donation is a remarkable act of generosity that reminds us how connected we truly are. If you'd like to learn more about organ or tissue donation, as I said, visit sharinghopesc.org and start that conversation with your loved ones. Thank you for tuning into the Pulse Check.
Thanks for listening to Pulse Check. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who might find it helpful. Your support helps this podcast reach more people in our community. Pulse Check is a production of Carolina Pines Regional Medical Center. Special thanks to our producers Hannah Cadell and Anna Tingen. Audio, video, and editing services by Seth and Grayson Johnson at Lockwood Studios. All content is for educational purposes only. We do not intend for the content to be a substitute for professional medical advice, counseling, diagnosis, or treatment. Our content doesn't engage visitors into a professional relationship. We'll see you on the next episode of Pulse Check.